Hello, my beautiful flowers. Welcome back to my channel. Dr. April here with another video helping you improve your mental health, your wellness, and your self-care. If you are new here, hey girl, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so you don't miss out when I post a new video here every single week. So in this video, I'll be sharing how traveling over the past 7 months has led to my mental health breakthrough, okay? So get some popcorn, get a drink, get comfortable, because we're gonna be here a little minute while I walk you through this journey, okay? So before we get into the topic of today's video, y'all, I need y'all help with something. Is that okay? Do you mind? Just track with me for a second, all right? So I just realized that we're gonna have to set some boundaries on this channel. Yeah, I didn't think we were gonna have to do that, okay? So I have created this whole boundary disclosure so that we can make sure that we're keeping our community a safe space for us, all right? So this is what I want y'all to know. Lately, I've been seeing some insects, okay? Some mites, so to speak, and they are typically in the comment section. And we have to be vigilant, okay? We have to be vigilant about this. No mites, no bugs, or creepy crawlies allowed, okay? So these pests come on this channel because they want to eat our flowers. They want to destroy our flowers, okay? And we can't let that happen. We can't let that happen. No, ma'am. We want to bloom on this channel. We want to grow on this channel, all right? So if you see something, say something. Positive vibes are welcome here. Positive energy is welcome here. So I'm gonna take you back to grade school for a minute. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it, okay? Now, if you choose to ignore the boundaries here at the wellness room, I'm gonna give you a life sentence. Yeah, a life sentence. Because it's going to be the last time that you will ever write a sentence on this channel, okay? I'm in the business of removing folks. That's what I do. So I would ask that you kindly respect our boundaries here at the wellness room, all right? Thank you. All right, let's get back into the topic of today's video. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, the way this video is gonna be laid out, y'all, I'm gonna take you on a journey with me to each place that I went to. I'm gonna talk to you about what I was kind of going through, like mentally and emotionally at the time, and then basically tell you about some of those experiences in those locations that help contribute to my mental health breakthrough. All right, so the first stop on our list is Mexico. Yes, yes, yes. So Mexico was the first place that I went back in April. And before I got to Mexico, I was kind of like in a phase where I was pretty much stressed, a little overwhelmed, a little afraid because, you know, I am basically taking this big leap of faith, making this huge transition into this nomad lifestyle, not knowing what this is going to look like. And basically, I knew that I wanted to start that journey abroad. And so for me, Mexico was about conquering fear. Yes, ma'am. It was about conquering fear. And essentially, it was a test of obedience as well. You know, are you going to do what God is telling you to do, even though it's hard, even though it sounds crazy, even though you can't see a clear plan or a clear path, you know? Like, are you gonna be obedient? So I know it was a test. So while I was there, I did have a hellish Airbnb experience, okay? It was a whole hot mess. But basically, it was through those particular challenges that I basically had to come to grips with being able to negotiate. I had to feel comfortable with standing up for myself, right? I also got to a place where I had to communicate my needs and just overall just be able to advocate on my own behalf. And that was very tricky. Like, you know, because of my past experiences, I've learned how to advocate for myself. I've learned how to tell clients, you know, help clients learn how to advocate for themselves as well. But it's a different story when you're abroad and you're in another country and you're all by yourself, right? So it's different. But that experience did definitely challenge me. And I just remember one of my first activities or wellness activities, so to speak, when I went to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, it was participating in a sound bath on the beach. And oh my gosh, I just remember just releasing and crying and letting everything go. It was like I finally was hit with all this grief, like the grief of losing people, the grief of like, you know, selling all of my stuff, and the grief of leaving home and leaving my family. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I just remember releasing, and I remember crying. And it was in those moments that I had to really speak life into myself and know that, you know what, you made it, you did it, you're going to get through this. So it was a lot of self-encouraging as well. And I'm going to share with you some of the experiences that contributed to my mental health breakthrough. So as I mentioned, going through that hellish Airbnb experience, at that time while I was in Playa del Carmen, I had to reach out for support. So I had to seek support, okay? And it was through seeking support that not only I realized that I wasn't alone, but I also built lifelong relationships and new friendships that will last a lifetime. And it was so amazing because I was able to meet people just like me, people who were also nomads, people who were also, you know, full-time travelers, or they were, like scouting, you know, just trying to see if this is somewhere, if Playa del Carmen was somewhere that they could live long term. And I mean, oh my gosh, the most beautiful relationships. I love them. And while I was there, I even met some beautiful ladies from the United Kingdom. And, you know, it was so interesting because while I had received support from the community and where people were there to help me, I just remember one day I was walking, and there's just two Black sisters walking past me. And when they started talking, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta be from the UK with that accent. They was like, yes, we're from the UK. And no, they were like, we're from the UK. Anyway, that's not how they sound, but that's my UK accent. Anyway, they were basically like, you know, trying to find something to do. They were kind of new here too. They were a long way from home, didn't know anyone. I was like, let me get y'all connected with my folks. So it was in that moment that I was also able to like give back to the community, which was amazing. And then also another thing that was amazing was just my access to healthy food. I don't know about y'all, but when I eat good, I feel good. There are numerous studies that show that when you eat healthy and you eating good, clean foods, whether that's plant-based, whole foods, whatever, it's been shown that you know, it has a positive effect on your mental health and your overall well-being. So, oh my gosh, in Playa del Carmen, the vegan options, the vegan restaurants were endless, y'all. And I just remember I was walking to all these places, eating good, fresh juice. And I'm like, why we don't have stuff like this in the States? I feel like it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. But anyway, so that was amazing, you know, so that was something that really contributed to my mental health breakthrough. And then also another thing that contributed to my mental health breakthrough was just trusting in myself, right? Like just being able to be more self-reliant, because when you are solo and you are in a new country solo by yourself, you know, unless you build that support around you from other brothers or sisters that are there, you pretty much have to rely on yourself. So a lot of self-reliance. I also realized that I came out of my shell. So basically like little introverted or semi-introverted April kind of turned into a social butterfly. I was talking to everybody. Hey girl, hey, and just having the most beautiful, wonderful conversations. And then also realizing that like a lot of people there also were like very vulnerable. People were so open to sharing their stories and open to communicating and loving on you and supporting you. And it was in those moments that even though I was there alone, I did not feel alone. And that's so important when you're traveling abroad. And I think I'm going to make a follow-up video on how to build those global support networks when you are traveling, like tell y'all step by step how to do that. That sounds like something that you'll be interested in, sis. Go ahead and hit that like button, okay? Because I will make that follow-up video if that's something that you guys want to see how I did it. And today, like you guys I'll kind of talk about it a little bit later, maybe if we talk about it. But if not, the point is that I'm still in contact with everyone just about that I met abroad, and they have truly become like my sisters. So I'm so thankful for that. And then also, I think for me, Mexico was also about self-care. I was at all the wellness activities, y'all. I went line dancing. I also, you know, I went to the sound bath like I told you. I would just sit on the beach for hours and talk to another sister, just, you know, laying by the pool, laying by the beach, just being in a beautiful environment. environment with a rich culture. And I mean, it was amazing. So overall, you know, just the self-care, pouring into myself. Again, I walked everywhere. So that was amazing as well, you know. So I think Mexico was really just about me getting back to me getting comfortable with being alone and what that looks like, you know, me being comfortable with just myself and, you know, on my own journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance, you know. So it was amazing. It was amazing. So Mexico was amazing. I love Mexico, and I definitely will be back soon. All right, on to the next part of our video. Let's talk about California. So California is not abroad. I know. Okay. But this is important, okay, that I bring up California, because when I got back from Mexico, I felt this strong pull spiritually that I could not go back out the country until I went home. Let me give you a little bit of backstory. So I was born in Monterey, California. I said this in a previous video. I had not been back, y'all, since I was 3 years old. And at the time I was dealing, so let me tell you what the subject or the topic is for California. So for me, California was about grief and healing, okay? So at the time I was basically navigating grief. The grief was real. Basically, I was just in the process of processing several losses in my life, including my grandmother who had passed away in that previous October. And, you know, when your grandmother passes, your maternal grandmother passes, and your mom is deceased, it kind of brings up the grief for your mom as well, because the last closest thing you had to your mother is also now gone. And it was just something in my soul, y'all. I can't describe it. Like, I have to go to California. So I went to San Francisco. I went to the Bay Area. I was there for a little over 2 weeks. And oh my gosh, it was the experience of a lifetime. Let me just say this. Going there, I felt like I would be close to my grandmother, close to my mom. Like, the pull to go home was so strong. And I just want to say this, y'all. The stages of grief are not linear, okay? What that means is you don't go or progress through the stages, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F. It doesn't work like that, okay? Your grief can be all over the place. And sometimes grief can make you feel like you're going crazy. Usually it's grief. But, you know, the stages of grief include denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And prior to going to California, I think I was in that depression phase where, you know, I just was missing my grandma. Me and her used to talk every single day. And I'm like, God, I miss my friend. She was my friend, y'all. Like, I miss my friend. And she was a big part of my life after my mother passed. She moved from California to be close to us in Georgia. She was there for like 52 years in California. And to make such a sacrifice to be there for your grandchildren is amazing. I appreciate her sacrifice. So some of the experiences that contributed to my mental health breakthrough in California were, one, towards the end of my stay, I decided to rent a car. And I never forget it. I went across the Oakland Bay Bridge, and just seeing all of the signs for El Cerrito, for Oakland, for Hayward, California, for Berkeley, I just cried as I was driving across the bridge. The bridge is massive, by the way. It's so beautiful and it's massive. And when you think about it, if you know anything about the Oakland Bay Bridge, it's basically like, I mean, you're literally over the ocean. It's just, and it's literally, I don't even know how to say it. It looks like it's like basically like the bridge is like a string between two cliffs because you're literally driving like right over the bay. It's an absolutely beautiful drive, but I say this to say, back to the experiences. It was amazing. I visited El Cerrito High School where my mother graduated from in 1984, and not realizing it when I went to the school, my mom had always talked about going back to the school, but she never was able to go back. And literally it was like 40 years later, I was standing on the steps where my mom graduated from. So that to me was so amazing, so sentimental. I also visited places where my mother grew up. So my aunt, my mom's sister, is still alive. So she gave me all the addresses where they live, where they grew up. I also went by a couple of the places that my parents lived at when they were in their 20s. I just got to see everything like I'd never seen, or that I was probably too young of a child to remember. But just being able to be where they were, and then also going to the hospital where my mother was born. I also visited the hospital where she was born. It's still there, and it's so interesting because the hospital where my mom was born and like where she lived, everything was so close, like 5-6 minutes. So I didn't have to go far or anything. But just being able to go to those places just warmed my heart and my spirits, y'all. And what else? Yeah, I just felt healed, y'all. I felt a sense of peace. And, basically, like I said, when I went, I was like in the grief stages of depression. But by the time I left, y'all, I was in a place of acceptance. I had really reached a place of peace where I'm like, it's okay. I can let them go. They're always with me. So California, I would say, was like a pit stop on the healing journey. Yeah. All right. Or on the travel healing journey. I don't know, whatever we want to call it. My travel wellness journey. But it was amazing. It was amazing. All right. On to the next part. Let's talk about Costa Rica. Yes. So Costa Rica. So before I went to Costa Rica, I was kind of in a phase where I was excited, but I was kind of nervous. I was like an excited, nervous phase kind of in that little season in back then in August. And the reason it was is because I think I was experiencing a lot of shock and a lot of disbelief. It was a really major time in my life where like God was sending like these divine connections. And it was just like everything was just like adding up and everything was just going so smoothly. And even when I got to Costa Rica, I was experiencing it. And I forgot what they called it in Costa Rica, but it's like a Costa Rica effect. I forgot what it's called. But basically, it's just like stuff that you can't explain, that don't make no sense, but everything just adds up, just works out. I'll give you an example. When I was in Costa Rica, for example, I went to a fruteria. And a fruteria is basically like a farmer's market where they sell fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, whole foods, minding my business. So me and another young lady also that I met that was from Atlanta, which is another crazy thing, that we spent a lot of time together. And we went to a fruiteria, and basically we were there minding our business, trying to get some fruit, check it out, because everybody says the thing that you should go do. And while we were there, we met a sister just walked up on us, y'all. I had on this dress. She was like, sis, I love your dress. That's what attracted her to come and stop and talk to us. And we're like, hey girl. She was like, listen, we doing a Black Girls Who brunch. Do you want to come? Like, y'all should come. We like, that wasn't our plan. Like, we're just gonna go to church and then call it a day. But anyway, we went, y'all. And while going there, I didn't even realize that the lady that invited me to do the wellness retreat in Costa Rica was going to be there. This is my first time meeting her in person. So that was amazing. And then while there, I met so many beautiful Black women. Y'all probably saw that reel I made on Costa Rica and on my Instagram. But so many beautiful Black women. Oh my God, from all over the world. Some folks from Atlanta. But I think Atlanta was deep in Costa Rica. I met so many Atlanteans. It was kind of crazy. Like a lot of people from Atlanta. But anyway, so yeah, like I went to this beautiful brunch with all these sisters. Some people were like passing through. Some people were living there. I mean, all over Costa Rica. Like it's a big Black community in Costa Rica. So that was just an amazing experience. Can't make this stuff up. Didn't plan for it. Didn't know about it. It's just like being at the right place at the right time. That's what I think they call the Costa Rica effect. Everything just lined up amazingly. So the divine connections was real. So let me get back because I'm getting off track. For me, Costa Rica was about pushing boundaries. That's what it was about. And at the end of the day, I was in a phase where I was like becoming her. And I was asking myself, like, can I live abroad solo for a month? Can I do this on my own? Let me just see. You know what I mean? And I was kind of in that phase where I was becoming her. Like, I know that I'm called to speak. I know that I'm, out here to change the lives of many women and things like that. But, I'm just kind of like, how is all this just happening just with ease? Like, when you are so used to things in your life not working out the way you anticipated and things just start lining up, it kind of takes you back a little bit. You're like, hold on now. Are we for real? Are we serious right now? So that's kind of what I was experiencing. But while I was there, I did experience a challenge. I experienced a rental dispute, okay? I'm not gonna go into all this, y'all, but basically the lady I was renting from where was I at? Oh, I was in Cocles near Puerto Viejos. This is on the Caribbean side because I stayed in the city and on the Caribbean side. Anyway, the lady's house was infested with ants, okay? And I think the biggest challenge for me was I was having flashbacks of like being in the States. You know, in the States, how Black women are made to feel like we're crazy almost. Like this blatant disrespect this insulting of my intelligence, right? Almost like your crazy mentality, right? And it kind of reminded me what it was like to be at home, because a lot of times our intelligence is insulted or challenged, or, sometimes there's a lack of trust in our competency. Y'all following me, right? I may not be saying what it is I'm trying to say, but I want y'all to hit that like button if you following me, okay? And then also, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and you also hit that notification bell, okay? If there's anything that I'm saying to you that resonates with you, make sure you drop a comment. Perhaps you're considering your own solo journey, your solo travel journey. Tell us where you want to go in the comments. Or perhaps if you've already been on your solo travel journey, or you're on your solo travel journey, tell us some things in your mental or your emotional health that has improved over time. We'd love to hear from you, okay? And so let me get back on track. Back to Costa Rica. So it was in those moments of feeling angry and frustrated that I realized that it doesn't matter where you go. Some of those internalized forms of racism can follow you, and you have to have the coping skills and be able to navigate these different issues as they arise. So some of the experiences that contributed to my mental health breakthrough in Costa Rica were just connecting with the locals. Some of the best conversations I've had with locals have been in an Uber, from Africa to Costa Rica. Like connecting with the locals and just having some conversations, and also challenging myself to learn and speak the language, right? I do speak a little bit of Spanish from years ago when I was learning, but being back in the environment, I was able to pick that up with ease. So, your language proficiency and language fluency, I think, does increase when you are in those environments. So, being able to have to dig deep and pull out the Spanish was also something I think that was highly beneficial. Like, being able to do something that I thought that I'd lost, that I couldn't do. And I was able to speak the language to get around and to ask for what I need, which is important. And I will say this, just being in nature in Costa Rica was therapeutic. It is a very beautiful country. It's a very serene place, very peaceful, very quiet. It's not as like lively as Mexico is. It's more chill. You see sloths, and you see toucans, and you see just a bunch of beautiful wildlife, beautiful beaches, and everything. So it's just a beautiful place. So the nature part was very therapeutic for me. And then kind of like I mentioned earlier, same for Mexico, just the beautiful women that I met from all over the world, just like-minded souls who get it. That was very therapeutic for me. Like, I really needed that in this season, that, I'm not alone in my journey. And I'll also say, especially when I was dealing with that challenge with the rental dispute, like just being able to stand up for myself, advocate for myself, and then also like being able to regulate my own emotions, right? So even though I'm frustrated, even though I'm angry, okay, we got to jump to the problem solving. How can we get out of this situation? So being able to manage those emotions so that I was able to take action was also very beneficial to my mental health. And, at the end of the day, you're going to experience challenges and different things that frustrate you and make you angry, but you have to be able to take action when it's necessary so that you can make sure you're protecting your own safety and your own well-being. And that's very important when you're traveling abroad solo. So I would say in summary, that after Costa Rica, I would definitely say, and Mexico, that my emotional resilience increased significantly, okay? Like, I rarely let things like fester anymore or hold on to negative feelings or emotions. You know, what I typically like to do is, I process it, I pray about it, and I journal about it. I get it out, I let it go, and then I move on to the next thing. I don't allow things to ruin my day or, basically like fester and simmer. And then you mad all day. Your whole day is ruined. Like, girl, don't nobody have that much control over me. So that's one of the things that I did notice as well. And then what I want to do now is I want to shift gears and I'm going to take you to Africa. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. So this is the most recent experience. I was in Africa about 2 weeks ago. And for me, before getting to Africa, oh my gosh, y'all, I was exhausted. You hear me? I was exhausted. I was navigating like, I would say I call them some loose ends, maybe some leftovers. But what I started to notice prior to going to Africa was like I was having some a little doubt, like a little imposter. Am I sweating? I feel like I'm hot. Anyway, I was having a little bit of imposter syndrome kind of coming up for me. And I'll say this because at the time I was working on publishing my dissertation research. So if y'all remember a little minute back, I told y'all that my dissertation research won a national award in my profession, in the counseling profession. And as a result, I was invited to publish my research. And I think what was coming up for me essentially was I had some challenges during my dissertation process that I hadn't fully processed yet. But I remember when I finished, I was just like, I'm done. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's good enough. Anyway, I still got the DR in front of my name. So whatever, I just was like, just let it go. But when they chose me for this award, for this qualitative category, I was just like, oh my gosh, are they seriously choosing me? Like, And let me tell y'all, because I had a time trying to analyze that data, y'all. It was in those moments that I wanted to quit. I was not going to finish. I was not going to finish. I'm trying to tell y'all. But I finished and, I was just like, this is crazy. And so I just find it funny how when I was having some issues during dissertation and I wanted to quit, I wanted to give up all this, all that, and going through everything that I had went through, my research got chosen. And wow, it wins a national award. So now you just got to take this dissertation information and you need to publish this manuscript. And I'm like, oh man, I was just having those doubts. I don't know if I can do this. Can I get this research published? What is this going to look like? Oh my goodness. And by the time I was getting ready to go to Africa, I had just finished submitting the manuscript. So I was just basically tired. I was like, oh Lord, let me start focusing on Africa now and get this lecture ready for the speaking engagement I had coming up. And I would say the theme for Africa was just like a major turning point. Like, it was basically a major turning point in my identity. It was about self-acceptance. That's what Costa Rica was about. And as I mentioned, in Costa Rica, I was becoming her, right? But it's like in Africa, y'all, it's like I am her. Like I was her. Like I'm me. Like I am Dr. April Brown. It was like this was that moment. Everything that I had been preparing for mentally, spiritually, emotionally, personally, professionally. This was like my major life-changing opportunity. And it was just like, wow, I'm here. Like I made it, It was a very emotional time because it was like, wow, this is not only like my first time, my first long haul flight across the world, but also it was like my first time returning home to Africa. And then also being the first person really in my family to have gone back to Africa for generations. Okay. And so, that was amazing. Like that was amazing to me. It was just like I was in so much shock and just like wow, like this is just amazing, right? And there were a few experiences in Africa that contributed to my mental health breakthrough. Okay, The first thing I would say is just learning about South Africa's history. If you have not watched the video, returning to Africa for the first time as an African American, that video, y'all, first of all, I'm telling you, I'm still trying to figure out what it was about that video. That video has over 5,000 views, y'all. 5,000 views, okay? I'm gonna put it in the description box so that y'all can go back and watch it. That video, I just talked about my experience, you know, and you might find it helpful if you're trying to plan your first trip back home and you want some places that you should check out in South Africa that's there in the video. But in that video, y'all, I went live the day before I left. I was looking hot, greasy, and I was so tired. I didn't feel like doing it, but the Holy Spirit was like, no, you're gonna record that video. So I recorded the video and everything, and people love that video. It really resonated with a lot of people. So go and check that video out. But yes, learning about South Africa's history. And then the second thing, just immersing myself in the culture, going to the local flea markets, talking to the locals, and just allowing them to share their culture with me. And, you know, we also, I shared my culture, you know, our culture with them, so to speak. But anyway, you know, they were just so open to explaining things to me, and I asked a lot of questions, and it was just a beautiful experience. Just really being able to connect to my roots and my African ancestry was amazing. And then I would also say, you know, it was really also one of the first times that I wasn't nervous or anxious to speak, you know, I wasn't afraid. I was like, I'm ready for this. I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, I'm getting distracted. I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. I cracked myself up. But no, I was like, let's do this thing. I was so comfortable and so ready, y'all, to like go up there and kill it. That's how I feel. Like my self-confidence was another thing. My self-confidence is through the roof, y'all. Like I'm not afraid of anything. I can do anything I want to do. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Like I just believe that. So, you know, traveling solo has also helped boost my self-confidence, y'all. Like I'm on a whole nother level. And yeah, the self-confidence it's crazy. Like I'm just comfortable in my own skin. I don't feel the need to assimilate, a need to code switch, a need to fit in, a need to blend in, a need to, I don't feel a need to like I've already been saying, like, you know, I'm here to break norms and to break generational curses and things like that. But it's just like, I don't feel the need to, I don't know, I'm trying to find the word. I don't have to agree with society's norms and expectations, right? I create my own norms and my own expectations. If you want Dr. April Brown, you're going to get all of her. You're going to get the researcher part of her. You're going to get the counselor part of her. You're going to get the humorist part of her. You're going to get the ebonics part of her. You're going to get the professional part of her. Like, you get all of me. This is who I am. And I'm not going to change her for anybody, you know? So it's just like, you know, like the self-confidence, y'all. If you're thinking about solo traveling, sis, and you need a little boost in your self-esteem or your confidence, solo travel will do it for you, okay? Because you are literally challenging yourself to do things that you've never done before. Your adaptability increases. Your language fluency increases. Your what's the other skills I wrote down? Hold on. I gotta get my paper. Yes, your navigational skills increase. Like I have a bad sense of direction, y'all. But when you abroad and you traveling solo and you don't have a car, you gonna learn your way around. When your GPS is not working right and you don't have any service, you don't remember which way you turn. And so that's pretty cool. And then also just like your negotiation skills, right? Your advocacy skills, like being able, like y'all don't know how many times I was in Mexico, I had to talk down these cab drivers. They want me to pay 500 pesos to go down the street. Baby, this ride should be 40 pesos. And if I give you 100, I'm being generous, okay? So it's those little things that boost your confidence and that challenge you, to get outside of your comfort zone. And that's what it's about, getting out of your comfort zone. And so lastly, I just want to say this. The support I received, the love and the feedback from my Africa family was everything to me. It will stay with me for the rest of my life, y'all. So if you like this video and the content that I've been talking about, please go ahead and hit that like button. Also, I also want to encourage you, if you are able to, please don't forget to support the channel, girl. I want to keep showing up here for y'all, okay? Every week, I want to deliver and make amazing content that helps us, and it helps me do that when you support the channel, okay? So there'll be links down below on how you can support the channel. There's also always tons and tons of resources in the description box as well, so make sure you check those out. And then another thing, even if you can't support the channel the way you think or the way you may want to, that's okay, sis. Share this channel with a friend. Share this channel with a sister, okay? And make sure you subscribe and you hit that like button. Also, if you are not following me on social media, I am at The Wellness Room ATL on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. So make sure that you follow me as well. Also, I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and drop some comments if you have any comments. And what else I want to tell y'all? I think that's my journey. And then watch, typically what happens after I go back and rewatch, I'm like, I left something out. But it's all good. I'll make a follow-up video, talking about the support, like how to build a global support network when you are traveling abroad. That's something that you want some information about. Drop it below. I'll be sure to do that as well. And I just want to say thank you. I love you guys. And thank you so much for sticking around to the end of this video. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for your support, your love. It means the world to me. Before you go, let me leave you with this. Remember that you are a beautiful flower that blooms and flourishes. May your radiant light continue to nurture those around you. And thank you so much for bringing beauty to our community, one petal at a time. Mwah. Take care of yourself. Bye.